Welcome back to Broken Smoking. Well, as you can see in the background, I've got a little progress made. You might not believe it, but I can. When I counted up what I needed, I didn't count up the other side for the OSB, so I gotta make a trip to get, you know, more OSB to finish the wall out, but at least it's wired and everything is working. But we gotta have more OSB because I just was in a hurry, you know, didn't write it down right. But in the meantime, I hope shop updates is good enough for right now, because honestly, this is gonna take a little while to get it in the shape like I'm wanting to get it into shape. We've got some tools to build, cabinets to build. If you remember, them frames sitting right out there, them are gonna be a couple of cabinets, and I've got some metal for that now down here. Got that all laser cutted out at the old job. And also laying on top of that is what I hope that works, belt sander. Because belt sanders you find these days, you throw a piece of wood in and they bog down, they just ain't worth buying, in my opinion. And I want one that if I go up to it, you know, I want to rip a finger off, you know, or grind a finger off. You know, that's what I'm looking for. So here's the parts and pieces that I got also done from work. And I also machined all the parts that you see here. The only things that I didn't do is make the motor, and because I ain't got one. I've got a 3/4 horse, you know, just to test purposes that we can try out on it. But in the long run, I don't know what size I need. But I do know I want something that ain't gonna grunt down when I pour the coals to it. I hate not being able to have an actual good sander. So in this little video, I suppose we're gonna start assembling said sander and see how it goes. Stay tuned. I appreciate y'all watching my last two videos. That was a clusters of some sorts. I don't know what happened. I think I got it lined out, but apparently my settings in my editing software got rearranged and it turned out like it was on a dark night with the first video. So I did get it reposted. And on my shop here, for the ones that have asked about it, this came from a company in Pocahontas, Arkansas, I believe it was, that was pretty much a kit minus the 3 overhead doors that I've got. It came with all the material, pre-cut, metal, pre-drilled. It's pretty much like building Legos, to be honest with you, for adults. It even had, did it have layout? It seems like it even had the layout marks on it to where to lay the studs and stuff. I'm wanting to say that's right, but I honestly don't remember. The only thing that wasn't pre-drilled was the roof metal, and they told me that's because a lot of people gets the, whatever you call them pieces up there, off. And a lot of times, you know, the hole don't match up with the lumber. So that's the only thing that really you had to go and do. And I built this shop pretty much by myself. When I say pretty much, I'd had to help with, you know, the #1 tool out here, the Mahindra tool. And on these 60-foot long walls, since this shop is a 40 by 60, I built them laying down. And of course, I had help to stand them up. And it was me, it seems like it was 4 other guys, and again, the old tractor. And me and my cousin helped me get the bubble wrap and metal on top of the shop, because by then I was just plumb over it. I didn't want to mess with it no more. I even had somebody out here to quote me, and this ain't no joke. They quoted me, well, I had to go back and ask the ex-wife, because I'm wanting to say it was $6,000. 4,000 or 6,000, one of the two. I'll get a brain fart in a minute and I can spit it out knowing exactly how much it was. I had the materials. Literally all they had to do was roll the bubble wrap out, staple it, then attach the tin to the roof with the supplied hardware. Fasteners, the screws with the rubber, you know what they are. I just, no, And this was back 5 years ago, 6 years, 5 years ago, I think. I don't remember when I built this. It's dated over there. I let my kids put their name and date and all that, but probably can't make it out. That's pretty much the only help I had out building this. And I kind of bring it up again because you can do just about whatever you want to do when you put your mind to it. And don't make excuses for yourself about, oh, this and oh, that. Work for it. Get off your tail. Go try. If you fail, you fail. Get up and try again. Hanging these rafters, these trusses. I've done that by myself. And that was a pretty good job, but again, the Mahindra tool helped me a whole lot. I made a boom pole that goes into it's that set of forks on there has got like a receiver thing in the middle of it, like a truck hitch. So I slid the boom pole down in there. I think it was about 20 foot long. Ratchet strapped the ends of it to the corners there to keep it from bending and bowing. And I was able to pick them up and set each one. Well, the first one I done, I will say this. I ain't got a ladder that goes from the ground to the very top of said rafter. And when you're only nailing them off to the sides and 1 or 2 boards on each side, you know, to keep them somewhat square and straight, it was pretty shaky when my Sasquatch self climbing around trying to disconnect my strap from the top of the rafter or the truss. So I ended up coming up with a, it was kind of, I guess it's one of them things, is it really a dumb idea if it works? Because I mean, it worked. And I didn't have no more problems. I mean, I put them on there with no issues and went right on down the line. Of course, when I got down here to the end, it was kind of tight, but I was able to do, seems like 3 in, but from there out, I had to do from the outside of the building, you know, because I didn't have the maneuverability to get up there. But what I did up here on this top of this truss is I took my strap, wrapped it around there, and I looped it. Then I attached, wait a minute, how did I do that? I had my boom pole hooked up to one end of the strap. Then I stuck the other end around the truss up, and I stuck a piece of rebar in it to keep it attached. So as soon as it had tension on it, it wasn't going nowhere, but as soon as I released the tension, the rebar dropped, fall to the concrete, or dropped where I could catch it and the strap would fall. If any of that makes sense. It's been a while. I slept many moons since then. And the reason I ended up doing it myself is because, you know, I come from, well, to be quite honest, I don't know if anybody's watched my original video or not, and I honestly don't remember what all I said in the very #1 video. But I lost my father at a very early age to a boating accident. So I had to figure everything out on my own. And that was very disappointing to me growing up. But then again, I did learn how to make do with what you got. But backing up to this shop, I had one of those portable carport buildings. I think they like 18 by 21. I don't know, my ear keeps itching. I had like an 18 by 21, I think is what the size of it was. Portable carport, but it was enclosed. I bought it used, took it down, reinstalled. I mean, I marked everything and ended up using the same hose to put the metal back into the same hole that was in that cheap stand-up galvanized mess. And it served a purpose. It got me by. Well, it ended up, you know, we bought our first home. It had a shop, which spoilt me, to be honest. And I knew when we bought this one, I needed a shop. Well, I knew how much money I could get, and I knew how much I had. And to make everything work like I wanted it to work out, I was gonna have to do the majority of the labor, because I don't know what this would have been letting somebody else do it, but I know what I got in it. And that's turnkey, wired, airlines. I had and I had to buy a few tools, you know, because I didn't have certain tools like lasers and doing all that stuff, because I even, you know, done the pad. I did not do the concrete. I just leveled up the dirt. Had another guy come in and do the concrete. And I'm telling you, back then, that was a chunk of change. And what they're saying the prices of concrete is now, it's freaking ridiculous. Sounds like a monopoly to me. And that's how I moved up to having, you know, the shop. And now I'm actually, majority of my big tools I've built. Like, say that right there, for instance. That's a tubing bender. I built the whole thing. I even made the die. Won't never do it again because it was a lot of work building that die. So the next size that I'll need, I'm buying it. I'll save up the money and buy me a die. Because that, I cannot tell you how rough that was making that die. But like I'm getting ready to do here, you know, the sander. I'd love to have one of those, what they call it, Kalamazoo, Michigan cast iron, you know, one of the old bad boys. But they're hard to find in decent shape. So that's the reason I'm opting to build my own, save some money, and buy a better motor for it or something maybe. Just things like that. Build your own stuff if you can out of scrap. Yeah, I know I got this from work, but all the materials and stuff. But it's the same principle with anything else, to be honest. You gotta get your hands dirty, you know. You fail, don't worry about it. I've failed many, many times on many, many things. But I still ain't scared to try something new, I guess you could say. And the one thing I keep failing at right now is Lady Liberty. I screwed up highly and put an EFI on that thing. And honestly, at first I thought it was a regulator because I troubleshot it for like 5 minutes. Then we got back from Power Tour, I looked at it for another 15 minutes, and it's not troubleshooting the same way that when I troubleshooted it when I was in a hurry trying to, you know. So I don't know what's going on with it. But I'm at my wit's end on that thing right now. I know once it gets lined out, it'll be probably fine, but I got to find the motivation to get back after it. And this little side project needs to be done before I even attempt that. So I built cabinets again that I'm planning on putting on the wall. Maybe on both sides, definitely on one side, don't know which yet. And for once, I'm gonna have some organization in my shop to store stuff. And when I do that, it's gonna make things so much more productive. I'm hoping. At least I'm not spending a lot of time hunting, scrounging, you know, doing God knows what to make said content for y'all. Well, here's my first piece. Again, I'm not no professional press brake operator. I've done this all by what I think should be done. And going back to the design of this thing, I found something online off of Grab Cab community, if y'all ever heard any of that, that people like you and I get on and draw these models up and we share them to let others try them out. Well, I found this one, thought it looked interesting, sturdy enough for what I want to do. So I grabbed it, made a few changes, and we'll see how it works, hopefully. But as you can see, this one has holes for the legs so you can bolt them in there. And honestly, right now, I don't know if I want to bolt them or weld them. But for right now, as long as everything lines up, I'm planning on bolting it. It may not, I don't know. But this is our bottom. This is going to be what the electric motor attaches to, and everything on top goes to the other side. Go ahead and fasten our legs. Well, them seem to line up, so I guess I did that part right. I'm gonna have to buy stock in some boat supply company by the time I get done, it looks like. And we'll just leave them loose because there is a shelf that goes in between here. And who knows if that's right too. This thing might be all kind of cattywampus by the time we get done. Well, we know that leg fit. How did I get the right amount of bolts first time around by guessing? I don't understand that one. And it is raining here. We've been having some pretty good downpours here in July, which we need the rain, needless to say. So I'm not complaining one bit, but if you get to where you can't hear me, or where I think you can't hear me, I'll probably be putting it in time lapse. And I may be doing that anyways, because who's gonna sit here and watch me put together this giant Lego puzzle? Well, another hole lined up. This one ain't. Where is it? Where you at? No. That one will. So what I do? Now what's different over there than different over here? If that one goes, that one should go. I would have thought. Hope the holes ain't all set differently, because I don't recall checking them on this pattern, so I might have bent them the wrong direction. Well, that one goes. Well, maybe. Let's see how. That just ain't wanting to go. This side will. I didn't G-haul something right. Did I overbend it or something? I mean, it's only off by a little bit. I got an idea for it though. And it don't involve a welder. we cheated and we got it. So we're in there. One more bolt, 2 nuts. So I literally got, wait. I thought I had all the bolts. Didn't I say I got the correct amount of bolts? Maybe I lied, but I got the correct amount of nuts by accident. Let me go grab a bolt. No, here it is. So I did grab the correct amount of bolts and nuts, strictly by accident. I bet y'all was making fun of me, didn't you? Can you see it laying there the whole time? You know, doing stuff like this also kinds of breaks the mold from working on your clunkers all the time. You know, stuff like this will last. I mean, I hate to say it, but it happens every day. But stuff like this will be sold in estate sales when you're long gone. More likely the clunker you just been working on is gonna last until somebody offers you some money for it. At least that's how it is in my case. But I hardly ever sell any tools because I know I'll need it eventually. Shelf in, which is right here. Oh, that thing's hefty, hefty, hefty. Pretty well impressed how I bent that so far. Well, I guess I better shut the GoPro off before it decides to shut off for me and lose all my footage. I'm gonna finish doing what I'm doing here, set it down and snug up the bolts. And maybe by then this thing will be cooled down. So I about threw my back out, getting the table side of things down on the floor. And if you can't tell, it's got some pretty good weight to it. And we ran into a little issue. I've got my prints from where I was making it, but I don't have an assembled view. And my mind just ain't seem to be remembering how it goes. But I think I got it under control, you know, like a jigsaw puzzle, but we'll figure it out. And the one thing that I remember by forming these is this all gets folded on the inside, but this one got folded on the out. And with the press I was using, I didn't have a die, if anybody knows about brakes, that would go into here to clear this, to form this side going the opposite way. Same way with this piece that I've already got clamped up. So I came up with the most awesomest idea ever. And that's just cut the damn thing off. So that's what I got here running is my plasma. And that's exactly what I'm planning on doing. Cutting the darn thing off. Because honestly, it don't really do nothing. The way it looked, you're gonna have to weld it to the table there anyways. So we'll just do a little tacky. Get my helmet on. I have no idea where my gloves are at. I probably could really use them right now. Boy, if I didn't format just darn near perfect. There's a luck. There's a draw right there. This is what we got so far. I mean, it's gonna be heavy duty. And that's the idea of it. This is what I was talking about, you know, swapping belts. So the other roller sets up here and floats. So it slides over all this, but there's no way of getting it over. So we're gonna have to disconnect or unbolt these 3 bolts. And for some reason, these bolt holes wasn't burnt out in this pattern. So I'll probably have to drill and tap them or weld it, then come over here and make some kind of bracket on this side, which sounds more user friendly, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of decisions. But I'm pretty impressed how this worked out. I mean, if it fits in there like that, maybe I bent everything correctly. Well, it's the next morning, or evening now. I ran to work, got me some dimensions that I needed here. And I got this tacked in, but I still got to figure out how all this goes. And when I went and I was looking and trying to get some dimensions, I kind of bent that table wrong. I should have folded it the other way, because these holes are too far this way for the mounting the motor. So needless to say, I'm going to have to re-drill and tap me a set of holes somewhere, since I did screw that up. But if that's the only thing I screwed up so far, I think I'm doing pretty good. There was something else. I think the gap here is going to have to be closed in, so I may have to bust them welds loose and move it over, because it gets the disc thing on this end too. I did notice that. So I went ahead and threw this up here. This is going to be the side sander, and of course we got to still put this coupling in here, welded up with gussets and everything. But I just got it sitting in there, trying to make sure we got enough clearance, and everything appears that it's going to be just fine. And I got to get some shoulder bolts down here, because this is adjustable. And what I mean by adjustable is, you know, we can set the angle on it. Right? So I just got them in there with some regular bolts right now. And I thought I had a shoulder bolt laying around to show you, but I don't. I thought I had a shoulder bolt laying around to show you what I'm talking about for the ones that don't know what shoulder bolts are, but I don't. But they're pretty much just like a bolt. They're hardened, and they got a shoulder on them that's pretty much a ground, and that will ride in that groove on that table to allow it to adjust. Since that's going to work out, I guess I'll go ahead and finish up this top portion now. Got my contraption somewhat together. It's looking like something now. You want a closer look? It's all assembled. I still need to make me a longer adjustment bolt here, because this is what tracks your belt. This is spring loaded, and I hope there's enough tension there for that guy's design. If it ain't, I may have to end up using some sort of jack screw type thing, because I just don't really see that keeping a lot of tension on it, but I could be wrong. But all in all, it looks like it's going to be a pretty dandy little thing. I know I'm going to have to take these bolts off, and I'm going to have to transfer these holes out, drill and tap this plate when I'm done. So I'm gonna have to unbolt that to even change the darn belt out, which ain't the end of the world, but I mean, it is what it is already. But in the meantime, you know, the table here is supposed to come up like so, which in my opinion, it ain't terribly bad, and I might keep it that way, but I would like to have it somewhat lower. But then again, it would be in the way of this here if you ever, so I'd probably leave it like that. But again, I'm gonna have to end up taking them bolts off and removing that also, just to change the darn belt out. I wished I would have caught that at the beginning, and I would have probably redesigned something in that effect. But then again, it should be a pretty sturdy machine if we can keep this taut. I might have to end up doing something like this on both sides and then keeping it tension on it. We'll see when we get there. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Of course, I still gotta get my motor. I might throw that 3/4 horse on it just to see what it ends up doing. Table, man, I don't know what that thing right there weigh altogether. I know I don't want to move it. I am gonna have to, which I got the piece, yeah, that here it is, the one with all the hose in it here. I don't know why the design had all the holes. I may do every other one or something, but I am planning on drilling, either tapping or nut certain both sides of this, because if you look at it, it does have a little give to it, and that will strengthen all that up. Either that, or I'm going to come and put a big gusset from here down to there, which I really don't want to do that. And the only other thing is this disc side. Yeah, see right there, we're rolling. So I am going to go ahead and carry this back to work, locate center, and make me a little pocket here to recess this so I know it's 100% in the center before I weld that together with all these gussets that goes around it, because I do want to try to keep it as balanced as possible. I'm going to throw in this little clip. I got this part here mounted up, or welded up, should I say. Oh, I don't put the set screws in it, but welded it up, turned it down, tried to get it true as I could, and we got windmill action. So hopefully that'll work out all right. But again, all in all, I'm pretty satisfied with it. To be the first time that I actually ever bent anything on a brake like that, I'm pretty satisfied. Of course, there was some design flaws in somebody else's design, and who knows, if I would have designed it, I'm sure I'd have made a lot more. But this should get me what I want, as in removing a finger if it gets caught up in there, other than, you know, this thing. And I almost bet I'm going to have to do something like this here over here to get it like I want it, because I bet it slips. But slipping is going to be better than what that green one does, because I don't think I showed y'all the reason why I'm doing this. You know, I bought this one here at the old local Harbor Freight, and I honestly don't know what good they are. So don't go trying this, okay? This is just an example of why I'm building a gooder one. As you can see, it's turning, and it's... Are you ready? Don't go trying this. I can stop this thing with my bare hands. It ain't slipping. It's the motor. It ain't worth the flip. I guess if you had to knock the corners off a piece of wood or something, it'd be beneficial. But that right there is fixing to be a guaranteed marketplace buy for somebody. Just as soon as I get this other one here done and test it out. Well, I hope y'all subscribe, like, comment, do whatever you want to do. But I hope the shop process is not boring you too much with the content relations. Trust me, we got some projects coming up. We just got to get the shop in order, and I hope you understand. And from what I see, y'all are understanding, and you might be getting the likes doing this better than the other junk that I do. So once again, I appreciate y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one.